Welcome to this training brought to you by the North San Diego County Realtors, where we turn real-world case interpretations published by the National Association of Realtors into practical lessons that strengthen your understanding of the Code of Ethics in action. Today's focus: knowledge of essential facts from Case Interpretation 1-8 under Article 1 of the Realtor Code of Ethics. Let's begin with Article 1 of the Realtor Code of Ethics, which provides the ethical foundation for this case. As a realtor, you're expected to act diligently, honestly, and with full awareness of the facts and responsibilities required to protect your client's interest. In this case, a failure to take timely action and to stay informed created unnecessary delay, uncertainty, and loss of trust.
Client A listed a small house with Realtor B, who obtained an offer to buy it and a deposit in the form of a check for $2,000. Client A agreed to accept the offer, then heard nothing from Realtor B, the listing broker, for 3 weeks. At that time, Realtor B called him to say that the sale had fallen through and that the buyer's check had been returned by the bank marked non-sufficient funds. Client A complained to the local association of realtors against Realtor B, charging him with dilatory and unprofessional conduct and apparent unfamiliarity with essential facts under laws governing procedures in real estate transactions. At the hearing, it was established that 2 days after making the offer, the buyer had refused to sign escrow instructions, and that Realtor B had not deposited the buyer's check until 10 days after receiving it. Realtor B's defense was that since the return of the check, he had received numerous promises from the buyer that it would be made good, and that the buyer's reason for refusing to sign escrow instructions was to give the buyer's attorney time to read them. Questioning during the hearing established that the check had not been made good, the escrow instructions had not been signed, and that the delay had caused great inconvenience and possible loss to Client A. The hearing panel concluded that Realtor B should have deposited the check immediately, in which event it would either have been accepted or its NSF status could have been known and reported to the client at once. That Realtor B should have advised his client immediately of the buyer's refusal to sign escrow instructions. That, in his negligence, Realtor B reflected a lack of adequate knowledge of essential facts under laws governing real estate transactions, and was in violation of Article 1 of the Code of Ethics, having failed to protect the client's interests.
Here's what happened. Client A listed a small home with Realtor B, who quickly secured an offer from a prospective buyer. Along with the offer came a $2,000 deposit check, and Client A agreed to accept. Then, nothing. 3 weeks passed with no communication from Realtor B. Finally, Realtor B called to say that the deal had fallen through and that the buyer's check had bounced. Frustrated and blindsided, Client A filed an ethics complaint with the local association. He accused Realtor B of negligent and unprofessional conduct and failure to understand basic procedures in handling real estate transactions. Client A made it clear the lack of timely communication, the delay in processing the deposit, and the failure to inform him about the buyer's refusal to move forward caused major inconvenience and potentially financial harm. During the hearing process, more details came to light. It turned out that 2 days after submitting the offer, the buyer refused to sign the escrow instructions. Even more concerning, Realtor B waited 10 days before even depositing the buyer's check. Client A had no idea any of this was happening until 3 weeks later. Realtor B defended his actions by saying the buyer was only delaying the escrow so that their attorney could review the documents. He also claimed the buyer had promised to make the check good, so he gave it more time. But under questioning, it was revealed that the check was never honored, the escrow instructions were never signed, and the realtor made no meaningful progress during those 3 weeks of silence. The hearing panel found Realtor B in violation of Article 1. He should have deposited the buyer's check immediately, which would have revealed the NSF status much sooner. He should have informed his client right away when the buyer refused to sign the escrow instructions. In short, his delay and inaction reflected a lack of essential knowledge, and that directly harmed his client. Here are the key takeaways. Realtors are expected to have working knowledge of escrow processes and transaction timelines. Delays in communication aren't just frustrating, they can cause real harm. Never sit on a deposit check, deposit it promptly, and follow the proper procedures. And most importantly, if a buyer hesitates or refuses to proceed, your client needs to know immediately. Let's reflect on a few questions. How soon should you report a buyer's refusal to sign escrow instructions to your seller? Would you have held on to the deposit check or deposited it right away? And what could Realtor B have done differently to protect the trust and the transaction? Thanks for joining us for this case interpretation review. Even small missteps, like a delay in depositing a check, can create big consequences. Protect your client's trust, act with honesty and loyalty, and stay grounded in the code. For more real-world training and resources, visit www.youtube.com/@NSDC Realtors.